We are rocking and rolling right along here at Tech Garage. Welcome back. Well, it's all about Garage Ed, and we're talking tire service. If you joined us last week, we know everything about the tire fundamentals. It only makes sense to turn our attention to tire service. Now, what do you want to do with your tires? Here's a couple of simple things. First thing you can do to extend the life of your tires is do a tire rotation. And you can see it right here. Now, depending on the vehicle, a lot of front-wheel drive vehicles, you can see the forward cross. That's a method to do it. You can do an X pattern there if you have a four-wheel drive, or you can do the rearward cross. There's 3 different ways to do it, but definitely look at your tires. You may have different size tires, or you may have directional tires. So in that case, you may not be able to rotate them at all. In the shops, a lot of times we just like to put the front to the back and the back to the front to stop any pulls, so we don't have any tire pulls or tire issues. Now, another thing, super important, when you put your tires on, you want to make sure you torque them. Torque the lug nuts. Why? Well, first and foremost, you don't want to warp that hub or warp the rim or do any damage. So you can always do it in a star pattern. You can see right there, you have a 4 lug nut, 5 lug nut, or 6 or 7. It doesn't make any difference. The point is, go in a star pattern. Go across from the lug nuts back and forth. Now, when you're torquing them, you want to use the proper torque specifications. You can use these right here. These are called torque limiting adapters. We actually call them torque sticks in the industry, and these things here kind of flex at the right torque, so you know you're getting the right torque when it comes to putting the lug nuts on. Still in a crisscross pattern, or you can use an old torque wrench. That's the best way to do it. Just wait for the click, put it to the proper thing, you'll have no issues. Now, also be careful. When you rotate the tires, you may have a tire pressure monitor. Now, the tire pressure monitor, it may have to be relearned to where the tire position is, so on the dash, it doesn't come up with a false reading. You know, that's a whole nother show on Tech Garage, and we'll take a look at that in a later season. Now, when it comes to tires, you also want to be able to read the tires. Right here, you can look at the tires, and you can see that there's some wear here. We need to know what's going on with that, along with 2 measurements called lateral and radial runout. Lateral and radial runout, you can see the radial runout is basically bouncing up and down. That's when you get that hop in the car, and then you may have lateral runout, kind of the shimmy in the seat, that side to side, but we're going to have to do that with a dial indicator, some tape. We need to understand about all that stuff. We need a little help. Dave, how about a little help?
Well, glad to help out here, John. As you mentioned, 2 types of runout. We've got the radial runout, which is what we're testing here, lateral runout, which is side to side. We'll talk about that in just a minute. So you can do this on your driveway. You can set your car up on jack stands. We've done it here on the table, and it's not going to be real precise because you can wiggle the table here, but it doesn't have to be that precise. You have to see the gauge move between 45 and 60 1/1000th of an inch, and I don't think it's going to move that much. And as we look here, this tire is pretty good, moving it no more than 10 in each direction, so we are just fine. By the way, a little trick here that my buddy John Gardner taught me: you don't want to get this dial indicator stuck in the grooves of the tire, so you just run a piece of tape around it, and it's nice and smooth as you go all the way around the tire here. So again, taking a tour of our tire, we see that it's only deflecting just about 10/1000ths in either direction, so we are just fine. Now, testing the lateral runout of your tire, again, moving from side to side, you do the same thing. You put your dial indicator here on the side, you run it along the sidewall. Sometimes a belt might shift or something in the tire, ends up being warped, and that's the shimmy you feel going down the road. And believe me, you'll know it when you have problems with that. Measuring to the same tolerances and measuring the exact same way, that is how you get your lateral runout. When we come back, we're going to learn all about torquing bolts, and there's a whole lot more to it than you might think. So stay tuned to Tech Garage, presented by RockAuto.com.